Recently, I've spent some time looking at age data collected by the UN. I've tried to turn that data into imagery and maps to make it a bit easier to understand and perhaps a little more interesting too. One thing that struck me, whether I succeeded at the what or not, is there is no clue as to why some countries consistently have older populations. I want to see if I can offer a few clues now. I'm going to focus on those topping the median age list. So, what actually is median age? As defined by the WHO, it is the age that divides the population in two parts of equal size. That is, there are as many persons with the ages above the median as there are with ages below the median. So if the median age of a country is 30, then half the population is over the age of 30 and the other half is under the age of 30. Just keep that in mind when you look at the median ages of these countries. Topping our median age list are mostly European countries, except for Japan, which has topped the list since the 90s. The question is, why these countries in particular? Wealth was the first thought I had as a factor. But while Japan and Germany are very wealthy, countries such as Greece, Bulgaria, and Croatia, while not poor, certainly don't spring to mind in discussions of the wealthiest places. Obviously, I needed to do further research, and I will caution you, I am still working on my research skills. Still, I found that at least 2 of 3 major factors seem to play a role for each country being on the list. Those being a generally high life expectancy, a low birth rate, and or negative migration, that is, more people leaving a country than entering it. We'll start with life expectancy. I don't think it's any secret that all these countries have a higher than average life expectancy. The lowest on this list is Bulgaria, with just under 75 years average according to the World Bank. The world's average life expectancy is over 72 years old. Why there is a higher life expectancy in these countries is a question for another day. For our purposes, what we get from this is that if people are living longer, the median age will go up. But if longer lives were the only factor, we would expect that only the countries with the highest life expectancy would top this list. This is clearly not the case though. Just to drive that home, Canada, which never arrives on the list, has a higher life expectancy in 2019 than every other country on here besides Japan, Spain, and Italy, again according to the World Bank. This is where other factors will need to come in. Let's continue with babies, or lack thereof. The birth rate is lower than replacement rate in every one of these countries, and it has been for the past 2 decades. Replacement rate is the level of births needed to maintain a country's population if everything else remains the same. That level being 2.1 births per woman within her lifetime. Why there are less babies being born in these countries and others is a topic that would make up a demographics textbook, or at least a much longer video than this. But the very short, incomplete, and admittedly callous cliff notes would be, the more likely a child will survive to adulthood, the lower the birth rate falls. The lower the birth rate, the more resources parents put into these children so that they will succeed in the future. The more expensive this becomes, well, you get the idea. But even if a country has a low birth rate and high life expectancy, it might not necessarily force the median age up that much if people are staying put and younger people are moving in, which brings us to negative migration. Take a look at the European countries that topped the list in the 1950s. They are mostly in the northwest. Now see how they move south and east for the 2020 list. One of the reasons for this, in at least some of these countries, seems to be the emigration of youth in search of work. The charts coming up now show net migration. Negative numbers mean more people are leaving than coming, so negative migration. It appears that the eastern countries, along with Portugal, are the ones that have relatively consistent negative migration. Germany, Italy, Spain, and surprisingly, Japan have a higher positive migration, so perhaps migration in general does not play a big role in them being on our median age list. To further our talk of negative migration as a factor, let's take a brief look at Greece as an example. Our little chart here shows Greece's migration falling precipitously from positive to consistently negative, though rising back up from a very low low. And we can see that less than 7 years after that big drop, Greece arrives on our median age list. This appears to be a consistent correlation for the other Eastern European countries that wind up on this list, as well as Portugal. If we look at the reverse of this, we can see that positive migration seems to have an effect on Germany's median age. Germany has a much higher positive net migration than any other country on this list in the year 2017. And you can see the median age of Germany start to move down between 2015 and 2020. This does suggest that there are younger people coming into Germany with this high positive migration. So, were these the reasons? Maybe, maybe not. I have laid out some supporting evidence for some aging effect as a combination of higher life expectancy, lower birth rates, and negative migration. Though not necessarily all three appear to be factors for all countries. Perhaps as one factor trends positive, another trends negative, keeping the median age relatively old. There is a lot I don't know, including the age data with regards to the negative migration. I made some pretty big assumptions on that. And there could be other entire factors that I am missing. As I said, I am trying to improve my research skills. One of the ways I'm doing that is by making videos like this. Anyway, what do you think? Was there something I missed completely? And did you learn something new? If you want, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and perhaps we'll see you again sometime soon.